So, what is your self-love language? I read something today. I've known about the love languages for years, and I never considered the possibility of how that could apply to self-love. It's a fascinating thing to consider. And I'll share the five, and we can kind of play around and explore how that could apply to yourself. But the five love languages are acts of service, quality time, receiving gifts, words of affirmation, and physical touch. So it's interesting that we all say, and there's a lot of talk about how important it is for us to know which ones mean the most to us, which ones maybe have the most effect on you, the ones that you want the most, the ones that you enjoy the most in partnerships or other relationships, maybe friendships, everything. And we never consider the possibility of, here's the point that I wanted to make. There's a lot of recommendations about journaling, and I even recommend journaling sometimes, but at the same time, I always say, like, for me personally, I don't enjoy journaling, and I've forced myself for years to try to do it and force myself to sit there and do it, and I don't enjoy it, and I actually get more out of other modalities or approaches or techniques or whatever. So should I keep forcing myself to do journaling? Is there something wrong with me because I don't like it, I don't enjoy it? Maybe you would get more out of mirror work, or maybe you hate that, or maybe you enjoy visualizations more, maybe you don't get anything out of them and you don't enjoy them, or a meditation or a guided meditation, or any other kind of work. I know that words of affirmation is one of them. Some people just don't resonate with that. So out of those five, or out of any technique, idea, exercise, anything that you've ever heard anyone share when it comes to self-love, which ones do you feel have the biggest impact on you? And the beautiful thing too is that it could change, it could shift. This week you might get incredible benefits from something specific, and you might, throughout maybe over a couple of weeks, a few weeks, a month, or whatever, or more, you start to realize, like, I'm not enjoying this, I'm not getting much out of this. There's nothing wrong with changing and doing something else, exploring something else. I've gone through this in my journey, that sometimes we have mentors, we have people that we follow, or people that we're actually working with, and they recommend things, and we get to a point that we feel like we're not getting much out of it, but we feel that, I don't know, sometimes we put people in a pedestal. Let's be honest, we put people in a pedestal, and we think that what they recommend and what they say is always right, is always amazing, is always perfect, is always good. And it might be. Like I said, they're all beneficial, they all help, they all work. But there might be a time and a place for that, and it might not be the best thing for you at the moment. We're very dynamic beings. We think we're going to just stay with a journaling exercise for a whole year, and things might change, things might shift. And it's okay to give ourselves permission to be like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to keep putting that person in a pedestal, and I want to trust my own intuition, my own guidance, and explore something else. That's why I actually recommend a lot the idea of the personal love statement that Matt Kahn shared in his book, Whatever Arises, Love That, his first book. The personal love statement, the idea behind it is that the thing that you want to hear the most, the thing that you've always wanted to hear the most, or whatever you're going through right now, what do you wish someone would tell you? Like the person that you love the most, the person you care about the most, or the person that their advice, their feedback, or their presence in your life has the biggest impact on you. if you tune in, like, what do you wish they would tell you? Whatever it might be. Say that to yourself. So sometimes affirmations, that's why I'm not huge in affirmations, because I know they have a benefit. I understand the subconscious mind and unconscious stuff and all that cool stuff. It's amazing. But sometimes they don't resonate with people. Who the hell knows what the best one will be for you? It's a little more challenging, I believe. And it's a little more rigid instead of the personal love statement, in which it can shift day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. Right now, I might just need to hear, "You're amazing, keep going." Or you might just want to say to yourself, "I forgive you," or "Please forgive me. I'm sorry." You might want to say to yourself, "I'm sorry that I haven't been there for you. I'm sorry that I keep focusing on so many things and I keep ignoring you. I'm sorry that I make everyone else a priority before you." Some of those are some that I use sometimes, depending on what I'm going through. And people that I've worked with, depending on what they're going through, and I've shared some of those, they really resonate with them. And it can have a very powerful effect. I was having a coaching session with an amazing client that she was struggling with the idea that she was so incredibly busy, and she was working with a couple, an older couple, and she was taking care of them, cooking for them, feeding them, and doing a bunch of things. And she was having a lot of challenges because of how the lady treated her and treated her husband. And she was like in the middle of all of that, and a lot of emotions came up for her, a lot of challenges came up for her. And I invited her to consider the idea that sometimes we have expectations in our mind that we think that when something comes up, we need to sit down with a journal for half an hour and work on that and dig deeper and go deeper and try to find out where it comes from, which childhood wound it originated from, and go very deep. And that's amazing if you have the opportunity. But if you're working with a couple and you're cooking and you have something in the stove cooking and you have to serve them their lunch, you can't do that. But when something comes up and you feel a ton of emotions, you can say to yourself whatever you know at that time that you need to hear, and there's no right or wrong. So I would say, I would invite you to consider these 5 love languages and everything you've learned about self-love, and trust yourself. Trust yourself. No one can know exactly what you need, but you might have a better idea of that. And you might feel like you'll never get it right. And that's part of the process too. Slowly over time, we learn to trust ourselves a little more. And we might get more in tune with that guidance that's always there, but we feel like it's not there. So I just invite you to play with that, play with the personal love statement, and see what happens. I hope it helps. If it did, let me know, please, with a little thumbs up or comment. And there's a lot more coming, so make sure you have your notifications turned on. I'll see you in the next video.